people in the house to help with the care of the house, but she also uses her own skills in spinning, in weaving, and sewing. Okay, and actually she's going to use even more skills to help, make things go right in the house, and bring blessing to the house. Her character is marked by compassion and generosity to the poor. Okay, the worthy wife. These are important in the book of Proverbs as well as to God, as opposed to transient physical attractiveness of the wife. Okay, the worthy wife has a reverential respect for God and His sovereignty. This is the beginning of all wisdom. Okay, in terms of fear of the Lord is the beginning of all wisdom, as stated in the book of Proverbs, chapter 1. Finally, all her acquaintances extol her virtues at the city gates. The city gates is the place of public assembly for commerce, transactions, and general communication. So, she is well known for her good works, for her generosity, for her talents, too. In this first chapter of the book of Proverbs, the city gates are where wisdom makes her plea. Okay, it's even mentioned that that's where wisdom makes her plea to be known. And actually, when you read the whole chapter 31 of Proverbs, the description of the worthy wife goes beyond the expected mother and wife roles to really business enterprise and even real estate investments. The worthy wife's gifts are employed not only for the family, the husband, but also for the members of the community. Okay, so I'm going to read that. Having said all of that, when one finds a worthy wife, her value is beyond pearls. Her husband, entrusting to her his heart to her, has an unfailing prize. She brings him good and not evil. All the days of her life she obtains wool and flax and works with loving hands. She puts her hands to the distaff and her fingers ply the spindle. She reaches out her hands to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. Charm is deceptive and beauty fleeting. The woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Give her reward for her labors and let her works praise her at the city gates. Okay, so to be well known, to others and really to everybody, because that's the entrance of people into the city, so even foreigners to know. Okay. The responsorial psalm, it's Psalm 128. Okay, and I'm going to read that. Blessed are you who fear the Lord, who walk in His ways. You shall eat the fruit of your handiwork. Blessed shall you be and favored. Your wife shall be like a fruitful vine in the recess of your home, your children like olive plants around your table. Behold, thus is the man blessed who fears the Lord. The Lord bless you from Zion. May you see the prosperity of Jerusalem all the days of your life. Okay, so that's the psalm. And the Psalm 128 is a psalm that seeks to give wisdom, which also makes reference to the blessing of a worthy wife. It also highlights the virtues of family life in general. And again, like in the book of Proverbs, the fear of the Lord is the reason for blessing in a family. Okay. Blessed is the man who fears the Lord. Okay. And starting with the husband, okay, blessing in a family, starting with the husband, fearing the Lord. This is not a paralyzing fear, but a right relationship with God and each person. God is love, but God is God also. Fear of the Lord is expressed by walking in the ways of the Lord. If you fear the Lord, you're going to make time for God, but also live his statutes, okay? Not in a paralyzing fear, but, yeah, you're God, you deserve this. This is justice. And it's good for me, too, to follow your ways. Okay, the second reading is from 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verses 1 to 6. And I'll read that, a reading from the first letter of St. Paul to the Thessalonians. Concerning times and seasons, brothers and sisters, you have no need for anything to be written for you. For you yourselves know very well that the day of the Lord will come like a thief at night. When people are saying peace and security, then sudden disaster comes upon them, like labor pains upon a pregnant woman, and they will not escape. But you, brothers and sisters, are not in the darkness for that day to overtake you like a thief. For all of you are children of the light and children of the day. We are not of the night or of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as the rest do, but let us stay alert and sober. Okay. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. So in last week's readings from Thessalonians, 1 Thessalonians, Paul wanted to give guidance for those who were expecting Jesus' return to be imminent, but they also were seeing people around them die and, wondering, okay, what's happening here? He's supposed to be quick, and we have people that are dying. In this week's readings, Paul is concerned about the moral readiness of those who are still alive, okay? Being ready in terms of moral, we're talking about actions and behavior, in terms of where we have free choice to do, okay? We choose to do. He tells the community that Jesus' return is likened to a thief who comes at night, okay, to steal. People are asleep and not expecting the arrival of the thief. In both Jewish and Christian circles during this time, there was speculation about the end of time, the day of the Lord coming, okay? Paul is dismissing the speculation to say about what time it's going to come, when people might speculate it's going to come, just to say it's totally unexpected, okay? In the Old Testament, there's mention of the day of the Lord, and it's that final period of history, okay, in the Old Testament. It goes back to some of the early prophets, even like Moses, okay, prophet Moses, prophet Amos, in terms of who prophesied in the northern kingdom, okay. Initially, this meant the coming of God of the Old Testament and taking his rightful place. But, who could stand the coming of the God too? You need to, in that too, the Old Testament, you needed to be living the law, okay, being ready. Paul is talking about, yes, the coming of God, but in the second person of the Trinity, Jesus, his coming at the end of time. Or at the end of a person's life, too. Paul uses the thief in the night and the woman in labor as images, okay? The thief in imagery is also in Matthew 24 and Luke 12, okay? And that Jesus emphasizes here, with his own words, unexpectedness as opposed to stealth of the thief. Unexpected, comes at a time not expected. The woman in labor adds a note of inevitability or no escape, okay? It's going to come. You got to be ready for it. You can't escape it. You can't push it off. You can't hide from it. It's coming, okay? The day of the Lord, in Jesus' return. And then, so Paul's echoing what Jesus said, and in Matthew chapter 24, 36 to 44, that Matthew says, "But the day and hour no one knows, neither the angels of heaven nor the Son, but the Father alone knows when the Son is coming. For as it was in the days of Noah, it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. In those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, and up to the day that Noah entered the ark. They did not know until the flood came and carried them all away. So it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. 2 men will be out in the field, one will be taken and one will be left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken and one will be left. Therefore stay awake, for you do not know on which day the Lord will come. Be sure of this, if the master of the house had known the hour of night when the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake and not let his house be broken into. So too, you must be prepared, for an hour you do not expect, the Son of Man will come." Okay? And, that can be our own death, too. Luke 12:35-40, it says, "Gird your loins and light your lamps. Be like servants who await their master's return from a wedding, ready to open immediately when he comes and knocks. Blessed are those servants whom the master finds vigilant on his arrival. Amen. I say to you, he will gird himself and have them recline at table and proceed to wait on them. And should he come in the second or third watch and find them prepared in this way, blessed are those servants. Blessed, be sure of this, if the master of the house had known the hour when the thief was coming, he would not have let his house be broken into. You must be prepared also, for an hour you do not expect." The Thessalonians 5, our reading for this week. This is the theme. There's a theme of light and darkness, and it's also found in apocalyptic literature, okay, that there are the Dead Sea Scrolls even talk about sons of light and sons of darkness, and a battle between the two, okay. The thief arrives in darkness, okay. Not necessarily, Jesus is, it's a negative connotation, but that, to be ready, okay, even when things may be dark and even when evil might be winning, that to still be faithful, okay, still be faithful to Jesus, still seek the good of others, intercede for others, keep the conversation going with God, with Jesus, okay. Matthew, our gospel is Matthew 25, verses 14-30, okay. And a reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus told his disciples this parable. A man going on a journey called in his servants and entrusted his possessions to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to a third 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away. Immediately the one who received 5 talents went and traded with them and made another 5. Likewise, the one who received 2 made another 2. But the man who received 1 went off and dug a hole in the ground and buried his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants came back and settled accounts with them. The one who had received 5 talents came forward, bringing the additional 5. He said, "Master, you gave me 5 talents. See, I made 5 more." His master said, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. Since you were faithful in small matters, I will give you great responsibility. Come, share your master's joy." Then the one who had received 2 talents came forward and said, "Master, you gave me 2 talents. See, I have made 2 more." His master said to him, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. Since you were faithful in small matters, I will give great responsibilities to you. Come and share your master's joy." The one who had received 1 talent came forward and said, Master, I knew you were a demanding person, harvesting where you did not plant and gathering where you did not scatter. So out of fear I went off and buried your talent in the ground. Here it is back. His master said to him in reply, You wicked and lazy servant. So you knew that I harvest where I did not plant and gather where I did not scatter. Should you not have put my money in the bank so that I could have gotten it back with interest on my return? Now then, take the talent from him and give it to the one with 10. For to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will grow rich. But the one who does not, even what he has will be taken away. And throw this useless servant into the darkness outside, where there will be wailing and grinding of teeth. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. So this is Matthew's parable of the talents. Okay, there's something similar in Luke too. Sometimes the parable of the coins or the measures. Okay, and it deals with, but Matthew deals with the influence of the expected return of Jesus on a Christian's moral conduct, on their conduct. Okay, not only is it improper conduct. Not only does he talk about improper conduct that's to be avoided, but a steady growth in virtue is also a hallmark of discipleship, okay? Not only to stay away from sin, but to use your gifts to develop virtue, develop goodness in you by your choices, okay? A talent at that time was the largest measure of currency, okay, unit of currency, okay? Note that the master's return is after a long time, okay? And this delay alludes to the delay of the expected parousia, okay? The parousia is the return of Jesus at the end of time, okay? His return again. Praise is given to the servants who are industrious, while anger and scorn comes upon the negligent servant. Okay? The master would have been happier if that servant had put the talent and trusted him in the bank and to receive instant. Instead, the servant makes no investment at all. Okay? And that it says it's out of fear. But this is a long time, too, to be possessed by fear for so long, that the master, he says, you wicked and lazy servant. It's been a long time, okay? You saw what the other ones did. You could have talked to them of how they did it, how they, with 5 and 2, how they doubled their gift, what I had entrusted to them. What the Lord has entrusted. So it's a big deal. The Lord has entrusted us with much, and then we do need to develop our goodness, our being generous, our calling people to check in on them, to not just watching TV and whatever and doing the things we like to do all the time. There's a time for it. Yes, there's a time for it. But there's really rich rewards for us in heaven, okay, if we, really do what we're supposed to do, okay? The Lord is going to reward us for goodness and seeking the good of others, okay, and for suffering, too. Those who do nothing with this gift, okay, let's go back a little farther. The point is clear for the Christian community here. Those who build on their baptismal commitment by a steady and active growth in virtue and apostolic zeal will be more than amply rewarded. Okay? Those who do nothing with this gift will lose whatever they have in a final separation from God's reign. Okay, so yeah, it gives you plenty of time, and, there's no real excuse. Okay. It is the difference between being industrious as opposed to being idle in the Christian life. Okay, with regard to one's gifts, as they were used, okay, one's gifts really need to be used for the things that matter to God. Okay, not just attaining our own wealth, but it's God's goodness is spread when we take what God gives us and make more of it. Okay, so anyways, great reading, great readings. Be ready. I always say 2 good things to pray for is to be ready for the Lord's coming, to pray for that, as well as to pray for a happy death too. That's always a good prayer too. Okay. God bless. Getting to the end of ordinary time here. Next week will be the Christ the King celebration. So this is a great time, and it's great to remind us the importance to be ready. That being ready is that we make it by our choices, love of God, love of neighbor. God bless.